barks, is like, Take him, yeah, it's fine. Take him over there. Tell him, sit. Learn when and how to correct a dog that lunges and bites guests coming over to your house. Here's the how to correct them. You get them out of the circle of trust. You remove them from the situation and you place them in a part where they are no longer a part of the family for that moment. The when is before the dog lunges or bites. It is upon a look. You are actually punishing an intention. The intention to bite or get the person out of there. You're going to see her and I try to follow these rules of when and how. It's an imperfect thing. People have different abilities. Houses are set up different. Guests are going to act different. He barked at me. Now notice where the dog was. She put it up against that mirror, so she was in between me and the dog, which is actually a good move. You do not want the dog there. Now I want you to look at the look. That's the preempt that she should have corrected right there. I barely know this dog, and this dog hasn't bit me yet. And the dog was at my facility, and is actually a pretty good boy. So I'm really not anticipating the bite that happens. He rips my pants. He doesn't actually get me. So that's why we're not correcting this, because he doesn't look bad. But now that I know he will bite, that's the look that we want to correct. Checks in with mom. Not great right there, but he hasn't bit me yet. The handshake method. I am such a big fan of a human coming into your house and shaking their hand. Now the dog knows that the owner has allowed me into the home. Now anything towards me is uncool. You can correct anything because the dog 100% knows that the boss of the house has accepted me into the house. This is what a lot of people miss, is that handshake method. Think about from the dog's perspective. A guy or a girl's just coming in and the owner's talking to the person, but the dog doesn't really know that they've been invited, or some dogs do not. Now the bite's coming up right here. So I'm just talking. I don't anticipate the bite, and it's going to be surprising to her. It's going to be surprising to me. I mean, she called me because of the dog bite. So there's the bite. Okay? Pain is never the best consequence or correction to a lunge or a bite. We were both caught off guard. So is that the best correction? She took him away, which is good. Okay? She got down in his face probably a little too much. We were both kind of surprised. Now look at him. He's a little tamped down. Look at his ears, okay? Look at the lips. He's a little more like, oh, mommy got mad at me. But you always have to do that takeaway. You can't allow the dog to stay right where they bit the person, right? They bit the person for a reason. You got to take him to a different part. There's the look right there. I hate that look. Now, I think I tell her correct. Yes. So I saw the look. I said correct. Then he's like, oh, okay. So that's the when, right? The preemptive before the dog lunges. Now you might be like, oh, well, I'm not sure the dog would have lunged. Well, it's not like we hit an e-collar at 100 for a look. It's not like we flipped the dog on the side when he looked. We gave him a tiny correction. If you're wrong, you're wrong. You didn't really do anything. There, not a great little look from him right there. But the handshake is still a good thing, because while it might make him reactive, we have to let him know that he can't, that the owner is friends. Now, I'm just acting like a normal human being. This is what I do when I deal with this stuff. Perfect. I told her to correct and she corrected. He's still kind of on high alert. But is any human being going to come to this person's house and just act like a robot or act like a professional trainer? No, they're going to do stuff. They're going to walk around. They're going to throw their hands in the air. They're going to do a lot of things. Now, one of the things you should do that we're not doing in this session, maybe because of the wall, maybe because, correct, on the look. Oh, maybe he wouldn't have lunged. Okay, you can still correct. Doesn't matter. Correct anything you think. It's not like it hurt the dog. So one thing you should do is have the dog behind you. Okay? The dog should not be in between you and the guest. Maybe we're not because of the wall, but the problem with that is, if you're going to do that, you have to be able to do two things at once. You have to be able to use your peripheral vision, look at your dog, and read your dog, which I'm trying to help you with today. I like how she walked into him right there. I go, okay, let's go sit down, because that's normally how guests would come over. Good. She walks into him, and I like where she placed him. I don't know if I told her. I don't love where she placed him. Oh, the look. We don't like it. And she knows her dog. Another one. We don't like it. He's getting all worked up, right? You can just see it. Where the dog cannot be is on her right leg, right? Where her right foot is. At least he's a little bit over there, right? If he's in between us, if he's laying on her right shoe, she's nervous, which is going to make the leash tight. Maybe she's shaking a little bit at this point after the bite, so he's going to feel her shaking. He's going to think maybe she is nervous of me. So the leash has to be loose. The dog cannot be touching you. Now I'm getting up like a normal guest would, okay? Walking around. He looks pretty good. Now you might be wondering why we didn't reinforce the lie down. Okay, this is not about reinforcement on any level. This is 100% about discipline. There are trainers who believe that you need to reinforce every small behavior. Fine, she could say, good boy, that's our friend. That's still reinforcement, but it is I'm the boss reinforcement. The last thing you want to do is pet your dog when it lies down. You know how many times I've seen owners go, oh, my dog isn't biting the person or biting the dog, and they pet their dog and their dog lunges? It happens all the time. Make your reinforcement be, yeah, that's our friend. Good boy. You should be lying down. I don't know why we corrected right there. Oh, tries to grab a fly. But it's fine. So maybe she's wrong. She knows her dog. This dog is a little bit older. He's set in his ways. It was a tough session. But he looks pretty good. The main thing is the staring at me. You don't want your dog staring at the person. You want the dog preemptively placed a little bit behind you. You want to then keep an eye on both your dog and guest. You want your guest to be a normal guest. You want to minimally ever reinforce your dog. And you want to correct your dog with being out of the circle of trust. In a way, he's out of the circle of trust right now. I would say generally, he's probably lying somewhere else. So he growled right there, right? There's no growls. I will let growls go. I often let growls go. But he just tried to bite a nice person who he knows. He was at my facility for 30 minutes. He knows me. The owner accepted me. He still bit me. We're not letting anything go. You got to have that attitude of when to let things go and when not to let things go. This dog doesn't get away with anything after he tried to bite. His mouth turned sideways. He tried to bite. He just didn't get me. All right. Now he's being chill. Let a sleeping dog lie. Don't worry about petting him. Don't worry about reinforcing him. Just watch your dog. She's kind of watching me, but she knows he's chill. So the how. Out of the circle of trust to a degree, this dog is out of the circle of trust. He's on the outside looking in. You can get the dog farther away. The problem is if the dog has to be on a leash, then they can only get so far away. Plus, it's hard to look behind you constantly at your dog. So a little out of the circle of trust. Then when he lunges, bites, really out of the circle of trust, then bring him back in. And you're correcting upon looks, upon growls, before the lunges.